Welcome to the Front Office Podcast. I'm your host, Marcus Cameron, and this will be this week's NFL thoughts from Polo, or Marcus, for those that know me very well. Glad everybody can make it back. We appreciate all the subscriptions, likes, and comments on the channel. I'll address some of that stuff. Don't have really anything kind of bothering me on this good early Tuesday morning. It's probably about 12:30. I wanted to wait to after the Monday night game to kind of do a recap of Week 10, which I'm glad I did, because Buffalo, that was just piss poor. But we'll get to that in just a moment. I want to make sure I give my kids a shout out for completing cross country this year. Aaron and Lauren. Lauren's first year as a freshman doing it. Aaron is his third year as a junior. They both had an amazing season. Shout out to the coaches over at Ridgeview High School. I thought Coach Stack and Coach Don, both of them got both of their teams to the state championship this year. Didn't bring home the chip, but it was some promising results out there. The girls did an amazing job, had an amazing year. So did the boys, and I'm just really proud of them. So big shout out to them, and the coaching staff over there at Ridgeview. They're doing something great. Y'all keep looking out for them and pay attention to what's going on. Track season's up next, but I do get a little break, so hopefully I'll be able to be more consistent and try to do this on a weekly basis. NFL. I dropped the episode yesterday about the NBA. It's kind of hard to do one every single day because so much changes in the day. So I feel like one on each sport per week is pretty good. I'll try to eventually get it up to two, especially with the holidays ramping up and things of that nature. Right now, everybody knows I'm a Viking fan. I'm extremely happy with what's going on right now. I definitely was not feeling Brian Flores in that defense early in the year. Anybody that knows me knows I've been calling for his head, all them blitzes and all that crap. But after we lost our first three, we've won 6 out of the last 7, so it makes us 6-4. Got to give Kevin O'Connell credit. Kirk went down with a season injury, ACL tear, and we picked up Josh Dobbs. So a big shout out to the GM, another guy that I kind of had on my hot seat because I just wasn't happy with what was going on, especially after the year we had last year. But currently we are second in the division behind Detroit. So they're streaking, doing a good job of getting wins that you should get. Sunday night, I think we played Denver, who just had a big win against Buffalo. Like I said, we'll get to that in just a second. I would say my top teams, though, in the NFC right now, I think you got to have Philly at the number 1 spot. They've lost one game. They look pretty unstoppable as usual. The same thing from last year. They don't really have a lot of weaknesses. They got a lot of depth on the defensive line. They got great weapons on the outside. The wide receivers are great. Running back is Swift, surprisingly very good. And, of course, Jalen Hurts is always going to be an MVP candidate. At number 2, I'm very reluctant to put this team at number 2 just because they lost 3 straight and they jumped on and got a win. But I'm going to say San Francisco. I think we're getting Chase Young before the trade deadline was huge, especially once he starts getting used to their scheme and playing with those guys is going to be great for the defensive line. I think Brock Purdy, that's been a subject of a lot of people. And my thoughts on Brock Purdy is I don't think he's a bad quarterback. I don't think he's a system guy. I think he has some talent. I think he can throw the ball. I think he's got a great football IQ. But I don't think if you put him on the Houston Texans, you'd be screaming his name right. Not the Houston Texans. The Tennessee Titans. Put him on the Tennessee Titans with that record, and I don't think they would be screaming his name that much. And rightfully so. The teams that are at the top, they're going to be under more scrutiny, more attention from the media, so they're going to pay attention to them a little bit more. But I do think he's a very decent quarterback. Do I think he can win a Super Bowl? Honestly, with that defense playing the way it plays, yes. You got Debo from the Gamecocks, unstoppable, just a weapon you can use anywhere. Christian McCaffrey is a real touchdown machine. Can't really stop him. And they got another wide receiver, Jawan. Of course, George Kittle. So that, they got weapons. They're formidable. Do I think they're gonna win the Super Bowl? No. I'd like to see how the playoff rankings, or how the matchups match up. But I don't think I wouldn't. I'm not picking them to go to the Super Bowl. But I do think they're the number 2 team in the NFC. Number 3, I gotta say Dallas. As much as that burns me up to say, I'm not too fond of the Dallas Cowboys. But I don't think you can take away from what their defense is. Defense is great. Yeah, offense is up and down. They've had some bad losses, but they've had losses to good teams. They lost to Philly. They lost to San Fran. I think they lost to Arizona. And I can't remember who the other loss was to. And that might be it. There might be only 3 losses. I'm not sure if you're a Cowboys fan. You can definitely correct me in the comments on YouTube. That's fine. But Dallas had a big win. Here's my thing, or my pet peeve with most fans in football. Because football is only 16, 17 games a year, every win is like winning the Super Bowl. So, of course, my guy Tim Johnson texts me and talking about I haven't talked about the 49ers, even though they got a big 34-3 win. Well, shout out to Tim. He's a great guy. No offense to him. I got another homeboy, George. Call him Boston George. He's a San Francisco fan. Look, man, y'all just lost 3 straight. You know what I mean? Like, y'all lost 3 straight, and y'all lost to us. We started off that streak. So, no offense, but that y'all not at the top of my list of teams to be worrying about. Y'all were super exposed. Yeah, Debo was hurt, but Debo don't make that much of a difference. Y'all couldn't cover. You couldn't cover wide receivers, and you let our running game do what they needed to do. So, you're going to have to prove it to me. It's a lot of teams that are kind of right there on the cusp. But in the NFC, those are my 3. AFC, I would say Chiefs definitely at the top of my list. As long as you got Patrick Mahomes boy up there, you ain't got to worry about nothing. They're going to be competing for a Super Bowl, period. If he's throwing the 87 and any other weapon they got, they'll make it work. Number 2 team is really tricky. I want to say Baltimore. Just because I believe in Lamar. But Lamar hasn't been playing great. He's turned the ball over a whole lot this year. I think he's struggling with the new offense. Not struggling, but I don't think it's as comfortable to him just yet. And there's been some games where he's thrown some great balls and, his wide receivers didn't come through. That Pittsburgh game, that was awful. They dropped 2 touchdowns, another big play that probably would have won them the game. So can't really put that one on him, but he has had a lot of fumbles lost. I think he's got 10 fumbles, 5 of them lost, threw a couple interceptions. I got him on my fantasy team. And both of my fantasy teams are streaking right now, trying to get into the playoffs. So I'm definitely leaning heavily on Lamar. But I'm going to go ahead and put Baltimore there. Even though they just lost to Cleveland, I'm going to put them there just because in the end, I think, when it's all said and done, they'll be the team that'll be moving forward in the playoffs. Now, Cleveland, on the other hand, does have a real shot. Their defense is hands down above any other defense, I think, in the AFC currently. Their defense is great. They stop people. They're great up front. They got great secondary guys. Linebackers are pretty good, well coached. The Cleveland Browns are a problem, especially if Deshaun Watson actually finds a rhythm. Losing Chubb and being 6-3 and getting the wins that you're getting them and the way that you're getting them, that's a scary team. I'm not going to put them at number 3. I think I got to put the Miami Dolphins at number 3. They lost to Philly. They lost to Kansas City. They've lost, but they've lost to really good teams. They're beating the teams they're supposed to beat and get a pretty high seeding in the playoffs. That's going to help you get at least to the divisional rounds, and then we'll see what happens after that. But I would say those are my top 3. Disappointing teams, man, Buffalo, without a doubt, in the AFC. Like, I just watched that game. I was kind of flipping back and forth. I was watching the Cavs and Sacramento and some other NBA games. And, man, the way Buffalo fucked that game up, I mean, Josh Allen goes down, great drive, calm, cool, collected, get you down there, runs a touchdown, get you up by 1 point. Then your defense doesn't hold. Okay. You get all the way down there. Denver drives the ball all the way down there in field goal position. You get a sack. Then you let them set up for another field goal. For a field goal. Kick the field goal, and these assholes got 12 people on the field. I get it. It happens. It's a mistake. J.R. Smith not realizing their timeouts. People shooting the ball in the wrong basket or running the wrong way for a touchdown. Dumb shit happens in sports all the time because of anxiety and whatever. The situation's just too much. But come on, man, y'all are not in a position to be able to lose a game because of that. Like, that team is 5-5 now. And I actually just saw a tweet from I've been on Twitter a lot lately. I just saw a tweet from Trayvon Diggs. We all know that I'm not a fan of Stephon Diggs, and I'm not a fan of him saying that he's not a good football player. Great football player. I've never met him. I don't have anything against him personally. But the way he acts when he loses is giving sore loser. And I get it. You're not supposed to be happy about winning. Nobody's happy about losing. Nobody's happy about losing. Anybody who's happy about losing, show them to me and I'll show you a loser. That's just the way. Winners want to win at any cost. All the great winners have done and sacrificed everything to win. The Kobe Bryants, the Michael Jordans, the Tom Brady's, Joe Montana's. These are guys who've consistently won and won and won, and they've done everything, including pissing off teammates, pushing people too far. So I get wanting to win. My thing with him is it's always a complaint. It's always, you need to be this. The tweet said, little bro got to get out of there. Big bro got to get 14, got to get out of there. Like, this is where being an athlete and being a regular person, I feel like at some point in time, you kind of got to taper shit down. And you got to really learn how to connect the dots and read the fucking room, bro. Like, you really think that's the best time to be tweeting some dumb shit like that? Like, bro got 14, got to get out of there. Why? Motherfucker, like, he it's not that he's doing everything right and everybody else around him doing something wrong. They're just going through something as a team. They are 5-5 out of the wild card hunt. Currently not in the playoffs, but they are in the hunt to make the playoffs. They still control their own destiny. They can win out and be fine. But you tweeting that lets me know the conversations you and Stephon Diggs probably are having, which is complaining and not just putting your head down and getting the fucking job done. I remember it was a post when they lost to Kansas City. That was a great game, too. The game where Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes were just going back and forth, and Patrick Mahomes ends up getting it down. There were like 15 seconds left, and they kick a field goal and win. Excuse me. And Stephon Diggs stayed on the field to watch them celebrate as motivation. But I tell you what it maybe he should do is look at another losing team after y'all beat them and see the guys who are not uplifting their teammates. See the guys who are complaining, who brothers are tweeting dumb shit. Like, bro, like, you're not even playing. I'm sure Trayvon Diggs is a great guy, amazing football player. It's just a fucking dumbass tweet. And, you wonder why people get on you and it's like, oh, they're picking on me. Like, no, be accountable for the shit that you say, bro. Like, just because you tweeted some shit in a drunk moment or a bad moment don't mean that you ain't gonna be held responsible for it. That's the reason for social media. It's got a good side and it's got a bad side. The good side is you can touch people that you'll never even meet or whatever the case may be. The bad side is when you say some shit on there and you are famous, it's gonna hit the fan. And I'm pretty sure they're gonna be talking about this tomorrow morning. I wouldn't bet on it, but I'm pretty sure you turn on ESPN Get Up, you turn on First Take, Undisputed, whatever show, they're going to be talking about this shit. And it's like, bro, why bring attention to the situation? It's already bad. They just lost a really bad game to Denver at home. And shout out to Softball Randy, man. If y'all don't follow him on Facebook, that's my partner. I've known him since like the 5th grade. Bro has been screaming Denver might be able to make the playoffs for about a good 2-3 weeks now. And he always has some wild ass prediction, but it's starting to look right. Like if they beat us, if they beat the Vikings next Sunday, that 70 that the Dolphins hung on Denver, they might have to see Denver again. And that Denver team is different now. So, shout out to softball Randy, Sean Payton, Russell Wilson. They done took a lot of shit this year, as they should have, after getting 70 points hung on you. You should get, beat up a little bit. Sean Payton was beat up at the beginning talking about the Jets coach and how it was a terrible coaching job, and it's not starting off well for him over there in Denver. So, you got to give credit where credit's due. They bounce back, and Russ looks great. Defense looks great. Those are my three teams. But getting back to my AFC and NFC, I'm only doing three because these are the three that I feel like are really legitimately competing. Even my team. I'm not knocking your team if I didn't call your team. I didn't even say the Vikings. Do we have a shot? Of course we have a shot. We play in the NFL. We got Josh Dobbs. We could easily make a run, and it can go the right way. But I see the deficiencies in our team. I'm a real fan. I'm not a fanatic. I get it. Like, the run game is not what it needs to be right now, even though Ty Chandler had a great game, and Madsen is starting to pick it up a little bit, but it's just not where it needs to be. And when you get into the playoffs, it's going to be about possession football. Can you run the ball in the fourth quarter with 7 minutes and kill the game? I think San Francisco can do that. I know Philly can do that. I think Dallas can do that. If they actually buy into the running game, I think Dallas can do that. The kid from USC looks great. Rico Dowdle. Yeah, he looks great. I put some money on him on PrizePicks. Shout out to him. Way to stand on business. But yeah, I mean, that's just kind of my review. Not Boston, but Buffalo that was a bad loss. I'm sorry, Frank, my man Frank, if you're watching. I apologize, brother. It's not looking good for y'all because I'm telling you, Diggs is going to implode on y'all in about 2 weeks. Y'all lose one more game, he's going to lose it. His brother already started it tonight. So, good luck with that. NFC-wise, I think, let's see, who's been a disappointment this year? Detroit looks great. And you know what? I want to change my pick on the NFC. I want to put an honorable mention up there, the Detroit Lions, which is in my division. Of course, I don't really rock with them, but again, I give credit where credit's due on this show. It's not about favoritism. They look great. They had a great win against the Chargers on the road. I think they're I'm not sure what their record is, maybe 6-3 or 6-4, something like that. I'm not sure if they had their bye week already, but they look great. Goff looks great. That defense looks dangerous. And I love their coach. I love his energy, man. Like, you got to have that kind of energy leading men. You can't be sitting up there in a suit and, these guys are making millions of dollars, man. You need to relate to them and get to them a different kind of way. It's a different generation. These young guys, man, they dogs. They want to get after it, and they want a coach that reflects that. So, big shout out to the Lions, man. But as far as the NFL, that's where I feel currently we are. Those three teams on each side of the ball, like I said, including Detroit, those are the teams I feel like have a legitimate shot. Can the Bengals get hot? Absolutely. You got Joe Burrow, you got Jamar Chase, you got real weapons over there, but it's not looking good for them. Injuries, bad loss on Sunday. Not a good loss. Just not a good loss to the Texans. Shout out to the Texans. The Texans are one game out of first place in their division. Jacksonville, I will mention them, but again, San Francisco throttled them 34-3. Shout out to the Niners. So I'm not going to give them too much love after that loss. They're going to have to go back and do a little bit more, even though that's somebody that's not in their conference. Again, it's a team that you're going to eventually have to play and have to beat if you're talking about winning the Super Bowl. So that's why I didn't mention them with my big contenders. And again, always wearing independent clothing. This is my guy off of TikTok. I forget his name. He's Clubs and Holes, though, as far as his handle on Instagram and TikTok. Like I said, we try to keep it independent. And again, as always, man, I appreciate everybody checking in. I'm going to try my best with the break that I'm getting between now and track season once to twice a week. With the NBA, it's not really a preview of games that are coming. It's more of we'll kind of discuss and dissect after the games are over with. But at least once a week, maybe twice at the most. Same thing with football. I would love to be able to give y'all some picks. I know a lot of everybody at my job is on Underdog and Prize Picks trying to get rich. So I know a lot of y'all are, so we can help each other out. Put some, comments if you know somebody, whatever. I love to discuss, but I'll try to get 2 NBA episodes and 2 NFL episodes, and I'll just do like part 1, part 2. This week is just one of each, but I'll consider this the same episode, so that way it doesn't get confusing with the YouTube listing as far as the how the videos show up. I'm sorry, I'm just a tad bit toasted. It's late. I'm gonna pay for it in the morning. I've been trying to go to the gym lately. It's not been working out consistently for me. I got sleep apnea. I'm old, man. I'm 43 years old. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just trying to keep my body right the best way possible and stay healthy as possible, as much as possible. But thank y'all for checking in, man. I appreciate everybody. Every like, comment, share, video, anybody who's reached out and said, man, we love the show. You have no idea how much I appreciate that, man. Y'all keep the positive energy coming, and I'm going to keep trying to bring it to you and get the people what they want. Peace.